Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. Today I want to make a video about the easiest way you can go about making a really high quality wildlife photograph. And by that I mean your local park, going to your local park. Most bird photographers, I'm sure, have a park near them that they like, which they return to every now and again when they don't have the energy or the time to go somewhere further afield, and they know it's a banker in terms of getting certain species and just for practicing good technique and watching birds' behavior. The benefit about going to a local park is that the wildlife there is accustomed to people. So for example, there's a park I go to quite often and they usually have one egret there and they usually have one heron. And I can get close to both of them because they're there every day and people are walking past all the time. If I see a heron or an egret in the wild, in an agricultural field or something, I get out my car, they fly off, even if I'm 50 meters away. Whereas at this park that I go to, I can get really close. And the reason I think you'll be able to make good photos at your local park is when I usually go out for a day's photography, especially if it's a new location, there's so many things you have to think about. What species are going to be there, how's the weather, how photogenic is the area, because it might have birds there but I might not be able to approach the birds very closely, I might not be able to get ground level if I want to, all these different things. Whereas at the park you'll probably know where the birds go, what the potential backgrounds are, where you can stand in terms of getting close to the birds and positioning yourself for that nice background. So all those things you don't really have to spend much time thinking about, and you can actually think about the specific type of shot you want. So do you want a portrait? I know where there's some nice trees where the bird might be hanging around. You know this in advance because you've been there before, you've probably seen the species. So you can already plan in your mind, okay, today I'm going to go with this one shot in mind. I want the bird where I've seen it before in front of these certain coloured trees, and I know that at 4 o'clock the light will be nice, there'll be some reflection on the water. Right, so I've come outside because the family have just come home, so we're outside with the rain, the birds and the goats. So basically the point about going to a park is all that extra stuff that you usually need to think about when you go out and take wildlife photography, you don't need to think about. All you need to think about is what species you want to get, in what position you want to take it, what background you want, so therefore you can really get in your mind exactly the kind of shot that you want to take, and then you can go there with that one target in mind. And that can often lead to getting better shots than just the usual opportunist shots we often take when we're out doing wildlife photography. So that's what we're going to look at today. If you're new here, please subscribe and let's get into it. So the reason I wanted to make this video was about 3 weeks ago I went to this same park about 3 days in a row, and on each day I had really great close encounters with wildlife, and I thought this would be a good video. So I'll show a little bit of video of the actual park that I went to. It's got 2 ponds on it and it gets quite a nice varied amount of wildlife, including kingfishers, certain types of egrets, some ducks, the usual birds you see at parks like moorhens and coots, little grebe. So there's quite a nice varied amount of wildlife. Now on one of the days I went there, the light was really great. It was about 4:30 to 5 o'clock, and I was really thinking about using all the different colours in different parts of the water with reflections from either trees and, in one instance, a bridge. There was this red bridge that you can see now, and there was someone feeding ducks on the other side, and he would feed the ducks every 15 minutes, and they would feed for about 30 seconds and then swim away and then come back, and they would swim through this bridge, and the reflection of the bridge on the water was only very small, and I would wait very patiently with my camera low down to the water, but it made for some really nice photos, almost faking a kind of autumn leaf kind of look, which in Okinawa we don't get autumn leaves, unfortunately, being a tropical island. So I thought it was a really nice opportunity to get slightly different shots from what I usually get of these birds. So I maximised that and managed to get a lot of nice shots of some plovers and a couple of coots going through that nice red water. So I'll look at a couple of shots I took with the bridge, and here's the first one. This is when, I think you just saw it in that monologue of pictures I just showed from Adobe Bridge, where the coot raised its wings or just stretched its wings, and this was 4.5 1,000th of a second, exposure compensation +3, ISO 200. Again, it's just a nice action shot, and again it looks like it was taken in like autumn, but it wasn't. And there's lots of nice detail, and yeah, it's a nice shot. Again, you know, just something different from the norm. Some kind person commented on this on one of my social media platforms that it was the nicest shot of a coot he had seen, and I think that's maybe just because it's slightly different. And again, I was using the environment in a place that I know well to help me get this shot. The next one is a male plover, again coming through this water, and it was only about 1 meter wide, the reflection in the water, so I had to wait patiently for the right angle and for when the bird to cross. Most of the time, of course, they weren't in that red area, so it was a question of waiting game and then just using a high burst rate to get the pictures I want. This was 4.5. I'm not quite sure why I was at 4.5. I probably accidentally just went up from f4. 640th of a second, +3 again, exposure compensation, ISO 200. And then the female, also the same settings. This was actually f4, 640th of a second, +3 exposure compensation, ISO 200. The reason I added slight exposure compensation is I just wanted to lighten the background as much as I could without blowing the whites. So yeah, those are the shoveler shots under the bridge. So there. Here the birds have switched position, a grey egret and a grey heron, and again they were very close to me. I just sat here patiently. Once they get used to you, they'll come very close, and they were just foraging for food in this grassy area next to the water. And yeah, as I said, they were there, they flew away, they came back in different positions, but when the grey heron got close to the grey egret, he flew away, but only a matter of minutes later he came back. This is what I'm talking about. You can get so much closer than you could in a more rural area. So with these birds so close, a full body shot wasn't an option, so I went for a tight head portrait, but very carefully choosing my background, so waiting till they got to the right position and the background was the one I wanted. The grey heron was actually shot with my Nikon Z6 and my 500 PF 5.6, and the grey egret was shot with the Olympus. They were both wide open, and they were about ISO 500, 2,000th of a second. You know, mate, I would say he's 6 meters from me. If you saw him in a countryside area, he would have been gone ages ago. Because it's a park, I'm within 6 meters of him. I don't know who's more scared, him or me. And here's the shot I got of that beautiful bird. I was so lucky to be so close. This is not a crop. I had to angle the camera, got the whole bird in the frame. it wasn't so easy. But anyway, as you can see, beautiful birds. I had to be a bit careful with the whites, but this was f4, 640th per second, ISO 1000 on my OM-1 with the Olympus 300mm f4. So I hope this video shows that you can get close to all sorts of species if you go down to your local park. I've had lots of wildlife encounters at this particular park, and I'll now put up some photos I've taken in the past at this particular place. Thanks so much for watching. If you like the video, please subscribe, like, put a comment down below, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care, bye.